Hey there, everyone.
Wanted to get a little
Uh,
music to start this one.
oh, okay.
You didn't bring your guitar, Ben, so
I actually have many guitars all around me all the time.
if you can't tell by now, we're talking about a complete unknown tonight. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Unqualified Film Bros podcast. James Mangold doing a biopic. First biopic we've talked about in about a year. Last one was Ferrari. Before that was Maestro. Y'all skipped the Ferrari episode, so we'll glance over that. Anyway, a complete unknown. Timothy Chalamet, guy knows ball. He's uh he's Bob Dylan here. What do you guys think?
It's okay. I mean, I think Mangold's first biopic was Logan, which was much better. Um, but look, I thought Timothy Chalamet was pretty damn good. Monica Barbara was excellent. Edward Norton was also excellent. But I don't know. I just didn't really get a sense of, and my biggest issue was I didn't really get a sense of why Dylan's lyrics were so impactful in that time, right? Like we just got a clip of him kind of performing at the March on Washington, and then the little title card at the end that said he won the Nobel Prize for Literature. Sure, but I feel like you could dive deeper into some of the why he was so important, um, why his music had such an impact on people during that time, right? It was what, 1966 to 69 or
61 to
something?
65.
61 to 65. Yeah, right. I
And
mean, think
they
about what's
kind of
going on.
they hint at that at Newport in the finale of the film, but they
Yeah,
don't
but
really
that's
dive
the
into it.
problem. That's the problem, right? You get it in the finale, but you don't get you don't get you get, you get it with the scenes in the hospital, but there's just too much that isn't going on, and then there's too much that is going on, I think, at a lot of different points. And it just fell short. Um, but it was pretty solid. It wasn't horrible, but it fell short.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought Timothy Chalamet was very good. I thought the performances were very good, but yeah, it's just like biopics to me are always they're really easy, but that means that you have a lot to work with. I mean, you have to figure out like why you're doing it. What's the purpose of the movie? It can't just be somebody's life.
Well, I think
Um,
that's something that works really well for this film is that Mangold didn't want to tell Bob Dylan's life story. We don't get decades upon decades upon decades of Bob Dylan. We
well,
get
yeah,
four
but that's
years.
that's not what I mean. I mean just going through like what happens versus why it's important versus like, I don't know. Bob Dylan in this movie kind of feels muted, like emotionally. Like I know his public presence and like private, it was kind of, an aloof guy, but I just, I don't know. I wish I could have seen more dynamics from him versus just like, the rough songwriter that wants to go against the grain. It's like a lot of the movie is just the music, and I love Bob Dylan, but that's really not that's not a lot. Like you're just copying what was written and copying the scenes. So again, like I'm biased against biopics. It has to be a very good biopic for me to enjoy it. And I did enjoy this one. It just like most biopics, it falls flat in the movie category. It's because like why do we need to see it? Why don't I just go look at a concert? Why don't I just go look at the video of Newport? It's like why am I watching the movie? And that's what they need to figure out. It's like it's good to go on, show everyone's acting skills, see how good they can be, but without like a reason, without a goal,
Yeah, I think
kind of aimless.
as you've both made clear, this movie is lacking its why, and with a story like Bob Dylan's and with an era like the early and mid 60s, culturally we have the sense of what the why was, but this movie doesn't do enough to show it, right? And I think showing the impact of Bob Dylan specifically, since this is his movie, on the culture of the 1960s and that time of societal change, is really, I don't know. I agree with you guys. It focuses more on Bob and his world more than Bob and
And
the world.
at points, it feels like a Forrest Gump movie. It's like he's just going through the scenes of he's like, oh wow, he's playing, the civil rights, movement. Oh wow, look, JFK died on the TV. It's like, it doesn't
To
really
be
impact.
fair, they showed JFK dying in the Elvis movie too.
Uh, I didn't enjoy Elvis. I mean, yeah, wow,
This is better than Elvis.
yeah.
That's
Well,
not that's not hard though.
I don't know. Like they're both different. They both fall flat in the development of the character, and they fall flat. And I mean, at least in Elvis, you understood like the social impact. It achieves one thing that this movie doesn't. So they fall flat in other ways. I wouldn't say one's better than the other per se. I think I'd probably rate them the same.
I would say this is better because James Mangold, despite being one of the most bafflingly confusing directors of our time, is still a
I
better director than Baz Luhrmann.
Again, it's style. It's not absolute.
It's hard to
Style,
compare.
style
Like
versus substance.
it's hard
Yeah,
to
but there's
compare.
no substance here either. That's the problem.
Like I think Lerman, I think he excelled because Elvis was such a spectacle, right?
Yeah.
And that's where he really came through in his direction there, is that he made it look like a spectacle. He made it big and loud and bright and fun in a lot of different ways. But that's just not what like I imagine Bob. That's not what I picture Bob Dylan being. He's not
No, Bob
some,
Dylan's concerts are
yeah,
like they're incredibly boring for a lot of people. You go there, and he'll play like an hour of songs that you don't want to hear. Like the whole "Blowing in the Wind" thing, that was a thing. Like he's had tons of hit songs, and he just refuses to play his hits. He hates it. And so if you go to his concert and you expect to hear the hits that he has, any of them, he will not play them. Just a warning.
Well, they
Especially
totally
these
nailed
days.
that in the movie.
Well, yeah, that's not hard. That's the entire like, yeah, I mean, he's a very counter, what do they call him? Contrarian guy. Call him contrarian in the movie. He very much is. He wanted to
that
go his own
definitely
way.
comes for sure.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, Elvis was a performer for first and foremost. He did not write the songs. He did not play them. He danced. Well, I guess he played guitar, but for the most part, he
He
was
sang and
the
danced.
performer. He sang and he danced, and he did a damn good job. Bob Dylan, yeah, he'll just go up there. Sometimes he'll stand, sometimes he'll sit in a chair with his guitar and just sing the entire time and mumble. Yeah,
Ben,
yeah.
you
Good to
sound
see
like
you guys tonight.
you sound like you've been personally victimized by a Bob Dylan concert.
Oh no, I just find him hilarious. Um, like his whole style, like it's the most famous aloof guy. Like he's just always around. He's been touring for 30 years
Yeah,
nonstop.
stop. He's had a final tour like 20 different times.
Yeah, I just
He's
he
earned
doesn't.
it.
Well,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
main thing is
that's
he's
kind of
like
what
a
Elton John's
workaholic.
doing too. He's been on his Yellow Brick Road tour for like 8 years now,
That's true.
or whatever the fuck it's called. I don't know.
But yeah, very very different performative styles, to say the least. Um, I personally like. I think Timothy Chalamet's voice when he's speaking is better than his voice when he's singing. Um,
Agreed. I
I
I
don't think
like
that
that
he
he
sounds
did his own
ridiculous enough.
singing though.
That's also what I was gonna say. He did his own singing and did his own playing, did his own harmonica playing, guitar playing. I think there were some parts where maybe he wasn't playing as cleanly and they like cut to his face, but for the most part, yeah, you can see it. And Ed Norton also playing the banjo.
Ed Norton
So
as Pete
I
Seeger
love that.
was my favorite part of the movie.
He was great.
Yeah.
perfectly cast, and the performance is no notes, incredible.
Yeah, I enjoyed Johnny Cash too. He was fun, even though
Was
he's more of a
that was
caricature.
Boyd Holbrook, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I wonder if Mangold just fell in love with him on the set of Dial of Destiny and said, "You know what? You can play Johnny Cash in my Bob Dylan biopic."
I think he fell in love with him on the set of Logan, to be honest. I think he was better in Logan than he was in
Yeah,
Dial of Death.
I don't know. I think it's time for a Logan rewatch for me.
Dial of Destiny. Why are we talking
I don't
about that?
even remember him in Dial of
Yeah, I
Destiny.
was like, I remember Harrison
Until
Ford.
you
Who
It
said
else
that,
is
was
I
the
did
most.
not
It was the
remember
most
Dial.
recent collab between the two. That's why I brought it up.
I see? But yeah, again, everyone was really good. Like, they could clearly got into their characters. It's just that they're all just interacting like their characters. I don't know. There's just not enough going on for me.
What
Um,
more would you have wanted to
maybe
see,
it's
Ben?
because I mean, particularly like focusing on his lyrics. Like Bob Dylan is known for his lyrics, like Max said. He won a Nobel Prize for it, but we really just see him writing it and we see him, rehearsing it. But like, why? Why did he write some of those things? Um, explaining, how what songs are about what. Like we got all the civil rights stuff, but I mean, I guess Hurricane is too late. I think Hurricane is after that's like in the 70s maybe. But regardless, more what is each song about, Because he wrote these songs about something. It's the entire point of a song. But we really just see him, play them and see all the crowd reactions, see the record companies. But we're the audience here. So we're watching a reaction. Not good.
Yeah,
You see the problem there?
yeah, it felt so insulated, right? When he's writing those little tidbits of the songs, they're like the little Easter eggs and everything, and you're getting a sense of, yeah, he can write that, but he's writing it in the context of having just slept with Joan Baez. It's not in the context of him like going
Yeah.
out doing something important or going to a rally and having this epiphany
Yeah,
of,
like
I
he's
want to
just
write about this. No,
he's
I
just
just had
writing
sex with
things,
Joan
but we don't know what
Baez.
he's
I'm going to
yeah, we
write
don't
this
know what he's
lyric.
writing about.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And like that's the problem I think that I had with I think a lot of the characters is they felt, like I said, insulated to their own, interactions with the other people in the movie, right? They're not there experiencing the life and context around them. Like when you see uh Timothy Chalamet walking around the streets of New York to the different clubs with the musicians and everything, why are we not getting him writing down lyrics in the streets and learning something about the community that he's a part of, right? It was all him in his room learning how to make coffee, sleeping with Joan Baez, smoking, you know, doing, yeah, he wasn't doing
Yeah.
any, there wasn't anything of substance there when he was writing down his lyrics. It was just kind of plain. It
Which,
meh.
yeah, to be fair, I mean, I think he did write his, most of his
And
songs like that. But
and
you can
that's
have conversations about like,
yeah.
Joan Baez sees the song and then she just immediately starts playing it, not like, oh, why did you write this? What's this one about? Like a normal person would. I mean, you want to hear it, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like they never engage with it. They were just like toys to be played with. Um, and everyone seems to
It's
just sort of
not
be existing.
it's not
Um,
quite the most like clip show biopic that I think we could
no,
have gotten.
that goes to
Hitting on
yeah.
the biggest moments and moving on immediately. But you're right, a lot of it is very surface level when this is one of the deepest musicians of the 20th century.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like as I said, aloof. He's doesn't really do famous guy things. Um, but still, you could have made him a little bit more You could have shown more than just him interacting with, two women and writing music. Like everybody just feels like they exist to play a part. Like each of the women play a part. It's like they don't exist as a character really, as much as just something to move the plot along. And even Bob Dylan at times feels like he's just moving with the plot rather than pushing everything forward. He like what is he sings the song. There's a time when he sings a song and then all of a sudden he's famous and it just cuts to like 1965 and it's like everyone's chasing him. It's like
Hmm.
I would have
We
liked to
skipped
see
over
just
the important
the
part there.
rise of fame. I mean, the entire thing is about his rise, and you just sort of showed like what put him on the map, and then just cut to him being the most famous alive, famous person alive. It's like you can see how that would, affect a person. There's a lot of things you could have done differently. It just feels too safe. You can't, I mean, you obviously can't do all these things, but you have to choose why, what's the point of the movie? Do you want to go deeper into Dylan? Is it, the cultural significance? Even Baz Luhrmann understood that with Elvis. Like a lot of that stuff was about, civil rights and then his own sort of falling out of favor with culture and things. There was a point to it still. I thought that it was a little too light on story, but you could still see the point. For this one, I don't know. It's just
I
sort of
will
like the
say,
point is Bob Dylan.
I will say this: this movie, where a movie like Elvis at 235 was bloated as hell and dragged, and the pacing was
Yeah,
atrocious.
there
This
was not enough
movie,
in it.
this movie is 220, and it moves at a clip. The pacing is really, really good for telling the story that they do over 4 years.
Yeah, I just feel like they're cheating a little bit by cutting to the major moments. It's like we don't see him. You see him in the beginning when he's struggling, but that's still a major moment. He's running into Woody Guthrie and Pete
I
Seeger,
don't know if he's running into them.
but he's finding them. He's hunting
He
them
goes
down.
deliberately to find Woody Guthrie.
Pretty cool.
But
Um,
then it does kind of get pushed to the back burner for most of the movie, right?
yeah,
I mean, the most impact
until
you
he
get,
comes back.
yeah, but the most you get of how his music affects someone like that on a personal level, that's all we get. That's pretty much all we get are his scenes with Woody Guthrie.
Also, he keeps saying,
There
Woody
are only,
Guthrie, you're
what,
such an
three of them?
inspiration. Huh?
There are only like three scenes with Woody Guthrie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them and then one of them is like him dying in the last like 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
I don't know if he, I
He
don't know if
doesn't
he's
die in the
dead.
movie, but
He's not dead.
no, he's not dead, but
Well, he's
like
dead
it's
now,
implied.
but
he's
It's
dead now.
implied that he's going.
yeah, I thought it was a little cliche too. It like takes off on his motorcycle. I don't know, man. It's not
Very
Getting
Dylan.
much
on the
like the Batman.
But that's the whole thing. It's like the movie is so tied up in a nice knot for a guy like Bob Dylan that is anything but. It just doesn't make any sense. It's antithetical to the person it's about. So I
Which
guess that's
comes
the other
back to
thing.
the very confusing nature of James Mangold, the director.
Why is he confusing? I don't think he's
Because I
confusing.
I cannot for the life of me get a read on whether he's a good director or not. Because
Oh, that's what you mean?
he has made some great movies and he has made some terrible movies.
No, I would say he's a good director. He's never made anything that makes me say, I mean, aside from Logan, and that's you're
Ford
cheating
v
a little
Ferrari
bit.
is pretty good too.
Oh yeah, I guess it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So good director. He has yet to make like a masterpiece, something that pushes him to the upper echelon.
this is not that.
No.
He really does have he has a really interesting filmography. He did Walk the
Like
Line,
Walk
Pretend
the
to You,
Line,
Night
music
and
biopic,
Day,
Johnny Cash,
The
Yeah.
Wolverine.
The Wolverine dog shit.
He's all over the place with
I told you.
yeah, he really is all over the place. But like
But
he does have he does have, he does know what he's doing, but it's also just kind of like, okay, I mean, I think
look,
I haven't seen Walk the Line in years, but I think I remember having some of the same issues with it. Is that it's a pretty good movie,
yeah,
but
again, same
probably
thing.
just
Like
it doesn't do
performance
That
is good. Some people don't even like Joaquin Phoenix as Johnny Cash.
I think that's one of Joaquin Phoenix's finer performances.
I think so too. Some people don't like it, but
I think Napoleon is his finest performance,
The
actually.
fuck out of here.
I think his best is what is it? I'm still here. The one where he like dressed up for David Letterman and was like, yeah, he was wearing sunglasses like a
No, the one
beanie or
the one where
something.
he dressed up on the late night show was Joker.
Or, or late night. No, 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 no. Stop.
I
Ed
think his
George.
best performance. I think his best performance was Joker Folie à Deux.
I mean, he was fine in that. Like,
All right, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, he's
Um,
not.
Chalamet's having a hell of a moment, huh?
Yeah, he is.
yeah.
I mean, from being the Muad'Dib to being Bob Dylan in 1 year. Good
Two
for him.
Muad'Dibs fell in a bucket of New York. One flew to Arrakis. The other was Bob Dylan.
That was beautiful, man. You write that yourself?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I liked this movie. I think it's more like than love. I put it towards the top of what I've seen from James Mangold, and I'm surprised that I've seen like 7 or 8 of his films. I was surprised when I was looking at his filmography earlier
I mean, he
to see
doesn't
that
make
I had
like
seen that many.
he doesn't make very under the radar movies. Normally he's got a big budget.
yeah.
Yeah. Certainly preferred this to the last James Mangold movie we did on the pod.
Style of Destiny.
Yeah.
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 But I
You know,
think
he's gonna be making this.
a lot of the
Oh,
positives that I took from Dial of Destiny, and really there were only a couple that I can remember, um, carry over here, and probably biggest of that is production design. This movie looks really good. It's got the feel of early 60s New York that I think this movie would have suffered a lot had it not fully leaned into that. And I think Mangold
yeah. I
succeeds a
mean,
lot here by going for it with that.
they did film in New York, so
Yeah.
that
Oh no, we
helps.
all saw the set photos of Chalamet as Bob Dylan 2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago? Jesus Christ.
I think
Yeah.
they shot this like winter of 23. Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
I'm gonna go for a drive,
And I will say, Dial of
son.
Destiny looked okay, but that's because it cost like $400 million.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. It cost a lot.
it had to look at least all right.
Well, 50 million of that was used to de-age Harrison Ford. So
That's true.
And you know what? They did a damn good job of
that
de-aging
was that
Harrison
was my
Ford.
biggest positive of the movie. It actually looks really good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think again, I like Bob Dylan, like performances. There's not a lot to say about the movie. That's the problem, right? It's like
Yeah. We
it's
all just wish it could be more.
yeah, it's just like you go through the events, you go through the actions, but why? What's happening? Like
Do
I
you
don't
think
know.
this movie would have benefited at the same runtime if it had looked at more of his life and was more conventional as a biopic?
No, no, no. Because Bob Dylan's most interesting parts of his life is his beginning. Past that, he's the same guy. Like he just writes music
For
and
half a century?
releases a million albums, he tours, and again plays the songs you just don't want to hear. Doesn't go out much, you know. It's not like he shows up anywhere. Sometimes he'll show up at a concert or something, but yeah, he's aloof. There's not really anything to write about, you know. He's an interesting guy because of his songwriting, not his life.
That's an important distinction to make, though, because he was given the biopic treatment here. Someone,
Yes.
James Mangold, decided to say, let's tell Bob Dylan's story.
But you know, everyone's in love with the idea of Bob Dylan. You know, this like cool guy, and he talks a little weird. You know, he's a very unique dude. And he just you want to do something with that, but there's really nothing to do other than play his songs.
Play
Like
his
even his
songs and
concerts are
focus on the
really,
lyrics, and they don't focus on the lyrics.
yeah. Like the only thing
Inspiration.
interesting about him is that his lyrics. I was like, when I first heard Bob Dylan, I hated it. It wasn't until I actually started reading the lyrics, I was like, oh, that's cool. But until you engage with that, it's just like, it's a guy mumbling on stage. Um, which
I
again,
just
like
want all
my
of you
better,
out there to know that I asked Ben to do the entire episode in his Bob Dylan
I
impression, and
did not, I could not do that.
he refused.
That'd be torture.
I think by this point, almost half an hour in, we would Max and I would find it torture too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's correct.
And I'm an impressions guy. I like
Yeah.
impressions.
Yeah, and then I'd start asking you, how do you feel to be on your own? Listen to my voice drone on and on like a rolling stone. But yeah, my only criticism is Timothy Chalamet does not sound ridiculous enough. Bob Dylan just you need a little bit more nasalness. He doesn't talk that way, but when he sings, it's like something else. And then when you get older, he started becoming a heavy smoker. He sounds like, how does it feel? I couldn't do it at that time. Yeah, it's so awful for my throat. It doesn't want to do it. It's just
Just
that, but raspy.
just smoke a pack a day for the next couple years,
There you
and
go.
you'll get
And then we'll
there. It's
come
fine.
back and we'll do a
Yeah.
complete unknown 2.
Yeah.
I
Oh God.
got it. I got it a few times, and I think my throat's done. I tried it a few times before the podcast. If you want to know what I was going for, just look up his like 2005 album. It's
True.
it's
Like
a
you said,
masterpiece.
just watch a concert. I mean, you go
Or
see
that.
if you want the Spark Notes of Bob Dylan, go watch the movie for sure. I think just go watch it anyways, but
Yeah,
Yeah, it's worth it for the performances.
yeah,
I like acting. It's
yeah.
just like as a whole, I think it could have been better. Like
it's
my
good
most
acting. It's good acting, in some cases great acting. Again, Max, you shouted out Monica Barbaro and Ed Norton. I think those are my two standouts too. Timmy's great.
Yep.
Um, Boyd Holbrook is Johnny Cash. Surprising
I
bright
think
spot.
like
Could
Josh
have used
Brolin.
more than like a quarter of one of his songs in this movie. I know it wasn't his movie, but
I feel like
like
they already used up a lot of quota for just songs. They were playing like all the Bob
I
Dylan songs in
I was
full.
impressed by how many songs they did in full in this movie.
Yeah,
That's
they
why the
can.
movie's so long.
Yeah,
Those songs are like five
But
minutes
I
long
didn't
each.
mind.
yeah, because they're good songs.
Yeah,
Like
Exactly.
again, like this is low hanging fruit, and
yeah,
other low
Yeah,
hanging
why don't
fruit
I
is
just
like
watch
this.
Bob Dylan on the
Just
YouTube?
yeah.
you could. Or you could go check out A Complete Unknown, currently playing in movie theaters. We'll
Mhm.
all toss it a recommendation. Go check it out if you like Bob Dylan. Go check it out if you want to learn some surface level stuff about him.
Agreed.
Um, Read up on his lyrics and why he won a Nobel Prize for literature, only recording artist ever to win a Nobel Prize for literature. Did not attend the ceremony, which is probably the most aloof thing we could say about Bob Dylan. Ben's going to hack up a lung, and we hope he is healthy enough in time for a playing of Funky Film Reviews next week. Aiden will be back to host. We're going to play the board. I'm probably going to beat Ben in some horseshit fashion that he will object
Yes,
to. And
probably.
Max is going to sit there and have a good time.
Hey,
Um,
you don't know that.
Also, if you like Bob Dylan, go check out the video recording of "We Are the World" and watch him be utterly confused the entire time. Make some
And then
great
comment your
faces.
thoughts on that video, and then on our video.
Please comment. We're
Like and
starving.
subscribe. I'm going to start saying that at the end of episodes. Like and subscribe.
Okay, like and
Okay.
subscribe too.
There you go.
Yeah, do that. Ben vouched for it. All right. We will see you for Funky Films next week. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good